Hey guys, Cameron Hawkins again. Since last week, I did my source from an EBSCO resource. This week, I just did mine. I just did some research on Google trying to find a good source of just some Foley information. So, my second resource for my project is from nofilmschool.com, and it's titled Tired of the William Scream? Learn the Basics of Foley and Sound Design. And it's an article that's a hybrid. It's like has a written part and it has a video part. And the video is 15 minutes long and talks about like the history of Foley and its modern applications. It covers Foley's vaudeville and radio talking picture origins, and the Foley we know it as today came from the mind of a Universal employee named Jack Foley. Universal was pretty late to the game in regards of adding video to sound, but the man Foley, his name is Jack Foley. His idea to record live to picture changed the entire game. At the time, it wasn't known as Foley; it was just known as direct to picture, and would not be known as Foley until many years later. The methods that the man Foley implemented are largely unchanged today, minus the fact that modern studios have access to far more recording channels than they did back then. The video goes over the basics of Foley in a modern setting. I learned that the duties are broken down into multiple mixing specialties, and that's just how they defined it in the book. It goes over how a spotting session is when the director and the sound engineers meet in a room and discuss things like the ADR, the musical cues, and sound effects that will be necessary for the piece, and try to get everything together into a document. It breaks down the three categories of Foley into three rough things, which would be footsteps, clothes, and props. And further describes that modern Foley breaks a scene into several recording phases using those categories to organize their passes. They then briefly discuss in the article how using pre-recorded library samples would be appropriate. Like they try to give you times and places where they would be appropriate, because sometimes it's not always easy to get like the sound effect of a gun or explosion, because that's dangerous. So sometimes people just need to use pre-recorded samples for their Foley work. The video ends with them showing a short video that incorporates all the methods and breaks down what they did and where and how they do it. And this is very, very relevant to my project, and it's relevant in multiple ways. Knowing the history of a art form will always help to better appreciate the methods we have today and the timely genius that brought the art form to life with the limited technology they had at the time. I've only ever blindly attempted Foley once before, so I had a very narrow idea of the methods and time that goes into a decent production. The core ideas that they discuss in this article will be the beginning of my Foley foundation, and I can apply my sound and recording arts knowledge to. The way they describe the organization of production will be immensely helpful. While their categories are incredibly broad, it's just ambiguous enough to give me the ability to organize the sound production for the project I'm currently working on, but I can still apply that to many other sound projects as well. Like maybe like this is a documentary, but what about a horror film? Like they're broad enough that you can apply the concepts to any sort of film and or video, and properly organize your workflow as you go through it. This is only my second article, so I still have a ton to learn. I believe this article will set the foundation I need to feasibly begin planning the audio side of our project. While many things will probably change between now and by the time we turn it in, at least with this, I can confidently begin broadly planning out what I need to do and how to properly manage the work ahead. I'll be categorizing the sound by dialogue, music, and sound effects mixer principles, as well as be able to plan the ADR and musical cues. That's going to be my big focuses starting off, because I'm also going to be composing the songs for this, but when I'm going to be composing it to the already finished product, so that I can, as I said before, get the musical cues correct. Probably one of the simplest and most profound things I'll be implementing from this article is the idea of the cue sheet. So that's just pretty much that pre-planning I was telling that you would do with the director, which the director in this case would be Tim. So that we'll just get together and write down all the sheets, timestamps, and get everything ahead of time. So when I go into recording for all the Foley work and any post processing sound, all the cues will already be there. I don't have to worry about where to put it. It's just there, and all I got to do is find the timestamp and record the audio. So I hope this rambling gave you guys a little bit of a better idea of what I'm doing. I'm real excited to do it, so hope you guys get to see the end product here about in a year. Thank you.